monthly call with the monthly virtual call, that is, with our Economic Development Committee. I'm James Roten, CEO here at the Escondido Chamber of Commerce. And we have with us also behind the scenes is Mr. Chris Cochran. So, and thank you all for joining us. We have a great opportunity this morning to have the Deputy Director of Economic Development, Amber Turek, here with us. So we have Amber this morning, but before we get started, would everybody please join me as I turn and face the flag, and we'll start with our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And with that, we will start off this morning with a welcome, Amber, and thank you for joining us this morning. And we look forward to hearing some great updates that you have with what's going on with the city. If there are questions, please post them in the chat room, or we'll recognize you and we will have you come on and do those live. So, Amber, would you please say a few things to everybody and start off with what you have for us today?
You bet. I have a ton of updates from the city this morning. So thank you so much to JR and Chris for the invite to speak at the Chamber's Economic Development Committee meeting. It's our pleasure. So I wanted to kick this off with just reiterating some of the services that the City of Escondido's economic development offers to our local businesses. I thought that might be kind of nice. I was chatting with Chris the other day, and there's some services that we offer that sometimes folks are maybe unaware of, or we could do, just spread the word on. So I did want to share that one of the primary roles that I play as far as helping businesses find locations that are suitable for their uses here in our city. So let's say a business is looking to relocate maybe from another city. They'll give me a call or send me an email and ask, hey, I'm really interested in a site here in Escondido. And so I actually have some really great tools that I can look in and on the real estate side and really find some really great location options for them and work with them on connecting them with the brokers and realtors associated with those listings. So I just wanted to offer that as a service. In addition, if a business is currently located in Escondido, and let's say they're thriving, they are growing beyond capacity at their existing site, I can also help assist them in expanding within the city and maybe even coming up with a second location for their site or coming up with a larger location depending on what their needs are. So again, I wanted to let everyone know that and just do keep that in mind. Let's say your business is growing and you're busting at the seams and you need to expand elsewhere in the city. I would be more than happy to work with you on finding some alternate location sites that might be good for the type of business that you have. In addition, we also do not hesitate to reach out to me anytime if you're looking for, connections to capital or funding or different programs. There's a lot of different programs that we'll talk a little bit more about at the state, federal, and local levels. So I definitely wanted to offer that as well. So anytime you have any questions like that, I also handle business licensing for the city. So if you have any questions about your business license, you're more than welcome to reach out to me, and I'm happy to help assist with that process. We have a wonderful online portal for business license applications and renewals that we would highly encourage all of your members to use. It's super easy, convenient, and fast from a processing standpoint. So I just wanted to offer that service as well. We have wonderful resources as well online. If you just Google business.escondido.org, again, that's business.escondido.org. That's our business homepage. And we also have a couple of subpages on the drop-down menus. So do check those out. We post regularly. We also have a COVID business news page that we established and that you can find on that site as well. We post regular updates on there for both workforce updates as well as business updates and different resources, different webinars that you can help yourselves to. And they span the gamut on whether they're manufacturing related, workforce development related, or the different programs at the state and federal level. I know we've also posted, I know the Chamber recently had a talk with the SBA. So that was posted in our economic development newsletter as well as in our business news page. So that's definitely a good site to check out. Also, we can help you expand outdoors. As we all know, with the COVID-19 restrictions, those continue to change on almost weekly basis. So anytime you're feeling like I really want to move outdoors, whether it's in an adjacent parking lot, on outdoors into the sidewalk areas, or in on-street parking areas, feel free and reach out to me, and I'm happy to help you assist you with that process. It's a super easy process. It's a one-page application that you just submit along with a diagram of how you want to move outdoors. And you just submit that to the planning team. And usually they're able to approve that within one business day if there's no curveballs with your application. So again, we've made those processes super easy and streamlined to do. I also wanted to share some exciting stuff. Last night on the city council agenda, we had a Grand Avenue vision plan update. Excuse me. We had a vision plan update. And so that was regarding the Grand Avenue vision plan that's been in the works for the last 5 years. Well, 2 years ago, the city was able to get a significant grant. And so we were able to move forward with the planning and design for that project. And so we're really excited about it. We're right now in the, we have brought the project to the Art Commission, and then we're moving forward to the Historic Preservation Commission for their commentary and insight into the project design, excuse me. And so then it will come back to the city council for a final decision on putting the project out to bid. And then we will find a contractor to actually do the work and stuff on the project. So I can explain a little bit more about that project because it's super duper exciting downtown, and it's going to really bring some more energy to our downtown area. So basically from Maple Street to Broadway, on the north side, we are going to be widening the sidewalk by 5 feet. We are going to keep that reduced a travel lane in each direction on Grand Avenue that you currently see today with the K rails that you see. And so that, again, that sidewalk will be widened out. On the opposite side of the street, on the south side, we're going to actually put in some diagonal parking. So that's going to actually increase the amount of parking we have downtown, which is really exciting as well. And then there will be festoon lightings, which is the string lights that go crisscross across the street from Maple Street all the way up to Calmia. And then we also want to put in different like public art features. We're going to put in some maybe like sandblasted letters in the sidewalk, and we're redoing all the sidewalks on those two sides, and it's going to be really, really lovely as far as adding extra touches. In addition, we're going to have some a new and very classic fencing put in as well. So we worked very closely with the business owners and restaurateurs to figure out where to put the returns and where to put the fencing. So we're really excited about that as well. And now this is only, I just caution you, this is only phase 1 of the project. And so the idea is we really want that project to move all the way down Grand Avenue to the east. And so again, that is on the horizon as we're able to identify additional grant funding. We will be moving that project, in additional phases down the street. So we're really excited about that. Also, the Escondido Creek Trail is something I wanted to mention. We actually did a feature on that in our latest business newsletter last month. And so the Escondido Creek Trail is a wonderful trail project that's going to go from one end of the creek to the other through the city. And basically it's going to be a wonderful linear park. This is something that the community came up with as kind of a dream project, where it's like, we really want to engage use of that trail as more of like a park where you can have, ped friendly, bicycling and cycling, walking, running, different community gardens along the way, a public art, of course, along the way to really dress up the trail. And one of the things we would love to ask the chamber support and chamber member support, any of the businesses adjacent to the trail, we're really encouraging them to think about reorienting their entrance or even signage to go more toward the trail, because there's going to be a lot more foot traffic coming on that trail. We want to really encourage business owners again to really either create more signage, maybe think about signage on the back side of their walls. Maybe a front entrance might not be feasible for their building, but also thinking about, okay, what kind of signage can we put up that's going to help attract more customer foot traffic into their businesses, whether it's cafes, retail, et cetera. So we really want to, again, engage our business owners along the way. We have had multiple public workshops on it, and we've had business owners participate in those, but we'd really encourage you guys all to get involved. We also have a website, the Escondido Creek Trail website online, that has all the updates on that project. Eventually we're in the design phase right now, and then eventually we'll have another public workshop to really talk about, okay, this is kind of more the solidified design now that we've gone through all these workshops and have that all kind of nailed down as far as a design. Also, I wanted to let you guys know, if you're not aware of the weekly activity report that the city has. So the city publishes a weekly activity report that talks about all of our latest housing and other development projects. So that report is great if you want to stay in tune with, okay, what's going on in the city? It really talks about all the different housing developments and different projects and what stages they're at in the planning process, as well as other exciting, things that the city, for example, the city recently won an award for our fitness court at Mountain View Park. And so all of those kind of news and exciting things that the city's up to is in that weekly activity report. After this, I'll be sure to provide a link to how to sign up to that, because you can actually sign up to receive that on a weekly basis so that you're tuned in to what's going on with the city updates. In addition, we have a city economic development newsletter that we publish monthly. We have tons of great funding resources in there. As things are being updated with COVID at the state, federal, and local levels, we post a ton of different grant and loan and other types of opportunities like that in there. In addition, we like to spotlight, different happenings around the city and different local businesses that have, recently opened. We want to make sure folks are aware of them and to see what kind of cool stuff we have going on in the city. So it's a really great resource. I'd encourage all of your members to sign up for that if they haven't already. And again, I can share that link with JR after the meeting as well. As you can probably tell, there's a lot of different funding programs that are happening right now for the businesses in the workforce. You probably have already seen the second round of the PPP was opened. And so please do apply for that if that's something that you want to pursue. And then also there's a Save Our Stages grant that the SBA is going to be running. They're still in the process of designing the program. That grant in particular is for like zoos, arts, museums, and other like stage entertainment type venues that have had to shutter their doors during COVID. So I just wanted to let you guys know about that as well, in case you have any members that might fit that criteria. Again, the SBA has stood up a website for it, but they're still determining all the ins and outs of how that grant program is going to work. So they have not opened the grant application period for that just yet. We also have the California Relief State Program that I believe just actually closed, or it's going to close soon. I need to double check that. And so that one is another great grant program that the stimulus that they're doing at the state level. Let's see, we are, East Valley. So East Valley, we've conducted several community workshops and really had the community engaged since we're updating the housing element in total, but as part of that, we're really focusing on East Valley. And so right now, the city is actually reviewing the draft plan, and then there will be a community workshop that will follow. And so I'll be sure to send the link for that as well. So that's something that you guys can all get plugged in on, just to see like how that draft plan has shaped up based on all the community and business feedback, and to really get involved in that area. We really think that that's one of our kind of up and coming areas for redevelopment, and really just, putting a different, energy and community feel in that particular area of the city. I also wanted to provide a quick update on Carvana. Carvana, we're hoping, crossing our fingers, that we can target opening later this fall. So I'll definitely provide more info on that as that comes. That's a lot on my plate. JR, did you want me to keep going?
Yeah, you know what, Amber, I really appreciate that. And you're right,
Sure.
There is a lot of plate. And it's almost as though, maybe you might explain how things have worked for you. Amber, you've been here for a year and a half now, is it? And
it just hit a year, actually. Yeah.
Well, congratulations. And you two have also been working through this pandemic, and the city has too. So can you kind of explain how that's worked for you and the inner workings of the city?
You bet. So You know what, JR, to be honest, like it has been a harrowing experience joining a new organization a month before the pandemic hit.
Right.
So not only am I trying to get to know people, right, and get to know our business owners, our local business community, our stakeholders like yourselves and the DBA. So it has been an interesting experience because it's all been virtual or it's all been phone calls and it's just, or video calls like this, right? So it's been a really interesting time, as far as getting to know folks. But I feel like my adaptability and just flexibility and kind of just rolling with it has really helped and has served, this role and the city really well. So for example, some of the things we did, to be honest, it's interesting when I reflect back and think about City Hall was really only closed for about a week. And as we really regrouped internally as staff to figure out, okay, so how can we reopen and do so safely and make sure our staff is safe and make sure the public is safe, right? And so and since then, we've reopened in varying stages of opening. And so we've had like a City Hall information booth that we, trained our team members to be basically concierges for the city. And that was kind of our central hub of, when customers would come in, they would check in with somebody at the information booth and then they would be let in. Right now, we no longer have an information booth. So we're kind of, again, dialing those measures back. And we also set up, of course, plexiglass at all of the front counters. So anytime a customer, comes forward, there's always a barrier of plexiglass between them and the staff member. Everybody is expected to wear face coverings at all times, when serving customers and within 6 feet of each other. Hand sanitizers everywhere. So it's just, I think we've kind of gotten used to a lot of those measures, to be honest with you. I don't think anybody really gets out of their car anymore, whether they go to the grocery store or into City Hall, and doesn't think about having a mask in their pocket, right? So I think we've all kind of adapted to these measures. And I think for me, some of the bright, like shining lights and silver linings of COVID were when we as a city realized that, okay, it looks like the state and county are going to dial back indoor dining, for example, with restaurants. And we said, okay, what can we do very quickly to deploy, support to our businesses? And so then you saw the city was able to deploy K-rail and barriers on Grand Avenue within 2 days, which was pretty extraordinary. And again, that's the city team just coming together and saying, what do we need to do? And what do we need to do now to help support our businesses? So while it has been a harrowing experience, I think for all of us, for business owners, for the workforce, for city staff, I think we've all really come together as a community and really shown exactly what Escondido is all about, from a thriving standpoint. We're going to rise above this and we are going to thrive.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Amber. I think you've done a great job of adapting and doing what you could through this pandemic. And I have to keep reminding myself that, it is a pandemic. We're still not there. What do you, as spring is right around the corner, what do you think about outdoor events? We always are interested in seeing what can be planned. I know you've got to probably obviously plan for those things. And yet we still don't know and you're following the county guidelines, correct?
Absolutely. So what we're saying for now, and as we actually recently had a conversation about that at the city staff level to say, okay, how do we want to approach events, and what is the best strategy for supporting our folks that want to run events, in the community and really, getting those on the calendar. And so what we're doing now is we're saying, yes, we will tentatively book your event for a date in the future. However, we're putting the caveats that if the state and county, the public health orders do not allow for that sort of event to occur, or the event organizer also needs to get county sign off on hosting that event. And if they're not able, if those two things don't align by the time the event comes up, the caveat is that event will be canceled. And so again, we are allowing folks to get those events on the calendar and just reserve those dates and times, for their events at this time, with that understanding that we're being very, very clear that if the public health orders do not allow for it to occur by that point in the calendar, or if they don't get the sign off from the county, we're going to be canceling that event. Sure.
And then can you tell us, there's a couple of others. So the Grand Avenue Vision Project, and we've I sent a link, put a link up on the Chamber's LinkedIn also, if you'd like to, but we certainly will, and we share all of the communique that we also get from Amber and put links in our weekly newsletter. So we also try to help spread the word for the city. But there's got to be some other areas of town that I wanted to be able to get a chance to ask you about. One, North County Mall. What's going on there? Can you give us any idea of what's happening with there? It seems to be, with Sears closing, some of the changes that are happening. Do you have any idea, or can you give us some updates or tell us what's happening?
Absolutely. So with the mall, I mean, a lot of folks have a lot of different ideas with the mall, and I'm sure you hear that, in your talks with folks. And so right now we're just exploring all of those different ideas. And so I don't really have a specific update for you, but we are open to ideas at the mall. Again, we've heard different things. We're seeing what's happening with some other malls as well, and just trying to see like what are those best practices going to look like, and so that's just something we're just exploring a number of different options.
And that's part of your role at the city, isn't it? To explore
Absolutely.
those opportunities. And do you
Absolutely. So if anybody has ideas, they're welcome to approach me with them, and I'm happy to again put that on our list of ideas to explore for them all.
Sure. And can you tell us, when we talk about the East Valley and the endeavors, and the chamber is working also to help in that area, because we have members over there that we know too that would like some attention and need some help in some areas, whether that be access to funds or just getting some attention wherever we can to have funding to do some things that are necessary to help make that area as competitive as possible. After all, that is the gateway to Valley Center, and so many things here in Escondido go through that area. Can you tell us anything else about anything long-term? Is there some people coming out to you saying, let me give you an example. Stone, we read in the paper on, and we noted that they're moving their headquarters, or they're a part of the facility over to another part of North County, Vista. Is that where, do they reach out to you first, Amber, and come to you and say, hey, we're trying to find something? Is that the role that you want to play or do play in this?
Absolutely. So they actually moved to San Marcos rather than Vista. But so yes, so normally a business would reach out to us and say, hey, listen, we're looking to expand. In this case, this actually happened very, very suddenly. And the thing was too, from what I understand, they're moving into the Mark Stein building. So it's already a building that's built out for distribution. So for them, from a business sense standpoint, that really made the most sense for them. And they were able to move very quickly on getting set up and running in a building that's already set up for distribution. So again, like, we are here to offer that resource though. If a business is looking to expand, we're happy to help find that sort of location. But I can tell you that that particular building was already built out for that sort of use.
Sure. But typically you would, that's what the city would play a role in there in trying to interface before these changes happen and try to accommodate or find out if there might be some role that you could play being able to help finding a different location and keeping it.
Absolutely.
Along that same line, let me ask you this: as far as North County,
but I want to Jared, just to piggyback on that. So I just want to clarify though, and the facility and like the brewing, and then the packing and everything that will remain in Escondido. I just wanted to clarify that in case anybody has any questions or confusion about that. Their current operations in Escondido will remain here, and again, the brew garden and everything. So I just want to clarify that.
Yeah, thank you, and understand they're back open and serving outdoor. Along that same line, switching back to North County, does Westfield Mall have the ultimate say as to what happens there, or does the city? Can you explain that dynamic? I'm not quite clear on that.
You bet. So there is actually a long-term lease between the city and Westfield in place right now.
I see. So the long-term lease, meaning then that Westfield has the right or the control of what happens to that property while they still have.
It's right, and it's a partnership, of course. So like, again, that's the role the city plays in that partnership, right? So like, if let's say folks have some interesting ideas that we want to explore for that site, I would help facilitate those conversations.
Sure. And then if we can go back and look at that Grand Avenue Vision project, which is really a beautiful project. Is there a timeline on this, Amber? What is there? Do you think this is another 1 year or 2 year project before we start seeing some actual changes happen with these committees?
Great question. My target, my goal is you're going to see shovels in that street by this summer. That is the goal. So again, it still has to go through the Historic Preservation Commission, and then it needs to come back before council for it to go out to bid to find the contractor. And then once we get the contractor, we're going to have shovels in the dirt, as they say. And so we're targeting this summer for that to occur. So you're going to see some shovels in by the summer.
Well, that's great. That is a pretty quick timeline. And of course, is there also, do you have any idea of the timeline that would be set forth now that there seems to be a clear path on the Palomar Heights project?
So I think they're just working on their tenant, the improvements and like the additional entitlements now that the project is approved. I would encourage folks to check the weekly activity report, because you'll see, activity on there as far as those projects are concerned. So as far as a timeline, I don't have when the dig is going to happen on Palomar Heights.
Sure. And Amber, you network with the other communities around us also. Can you kind of explain to us how that works for you and what the benefits are for that?
You bet. So we have a North County collaborative partnership called Innovate 78. I'd encourage everyone to go to innovate78.com. That's our website that you can check out the collaborative partnership that we have, and excellent features on Escondido there on that site. So this partnership has grown over the last few years. It started a few years ago, and it's a partnership with the 5 cities along the 78 corridor. So Escondido, San Marcos, Vista, Carlsbad, and Oceanside. And basically it's myself and my counterparts in each of those cities. We work very, very closely together, and we have regular meetings with businesses. We have different innovator events to really support our business owners and provide guidance, and really have kind of almost the brain trust to get together and really talk about, okay, what's going on in our community, what's going on in our business community, and from an economic standpoint, and how can we best help. In addition, Innovate 78 has had a really strong marketing arm, and so we've been able to really feature different blog stories and different highlights on different businesses and exciting things that are happening along the 78 corridor. And what's really exciting too, let's say a business is expanding, and let's say they aren't able to stay in, let's say, San Marcos, and they're coming over to Escondido. My counterpart in San Marcos does a really warm handoff and says, here, and rolls out the red carpet for them to have a really smooth and easy transition here to Escondido. So that is one of the key benefits of, not only we have these wonderful, really tight relationships across the cities, but we also are sharing best practices. I can't tell you how many times I've been talking with my colleagues as far as an Innovate 78, event or get together, and it's just we are able to share best practices, and we poll each other to say, hey, what is your community doing about X? I can't tell you how invaluable those partnerships were, especially during COVID, trying to figure out, okay, so like what's going on with your city hall? What's going on with your city hall? We were able to really collaborate and figure out, okay, understanding what's happening across the cities has been key. And also, again, we really, banded together to really support our businesses through COVID and through the pandemic. And I will tell you, I'm super proud to say that Escondido was one of the first North County cities to adopt a business recovery strategy. And then the other cities followed suit because they saw how successful that those measures were. Our city was really, really proactive in figuring out, seeing kind of where the public health orders might go and anticipating that. And then we made sure our city council, we brought forth that business recovery strategy back in May. And we were able to really just, again, put a lot of our rules, regulations, aside and say, here's what we're going to do for our businesses. From a signage, we relaxed a lot of the signage rules to allow for them to do, okay, this is our COVID hours, for example. A lot of outdoor dining and retail now. You see outdoor boutiques now in parking lots. We're outdoor use of our parks. We've had different folks that maybe are doing fitness classes that weren't able to do it in a gym anymore, have moved outdoors, outdoor church services, outdoor, support. We've really figured out how to be proactive and really, kind of drop all the red tape and support our businesses very, very quickly.
Sure. There's a couple of things I wanted to ask you about too. There's other services that are out there that the city's been noted for, and I think that you play a role in this, but there's a graffiti removal program that seems to be really efficient. Matter of fact, I believe they're also award-winning also. Can you tell us about that program?
Absolutely. So we have a 602 waiver program, and we have an award-winning, as you mentioned, award-winning graffiti removal program. So the 602 waiver program is really helps support with homelessness and transiency. And so basically, a business, and we have a website. I will give you that link as well, where a business can submit a 602 waiver in advance, and it's good for a year. And they would need to renew their waiver every year if they want to continue to be involved in the program. And basically, it allows our police department or public works folks and other city staff to enter their private, premises to assist with homelessness. And so again, that and any trespassing that might be occurring. That's one of our mottos as a city is safe, clean, and thriving. And so this all fits very well under that motto and that mission. And so in addition, we have, again, our award-winning graffiti program where you can just take a picture with the Report It app, which again, we leverage technology. That is a great tool. I encourage everybody to download the app to your phone, and you just take a picture of it. You identify where it is. It's a really easy prompts to fill out. And then it goes to our system where that graffiti can get taken down usually within a couple hours. Our team is on top of it, and it's really an amazing tech tool that we're using, but then also being able to make sure our city is clean, safe, and thriving and efficient.
What about, Amber, is there a way that, merchants and businesses here can get blog stories on, or their blog stories on your website? Is there a way to be able to do that if they have something they wanted to be able to have out there? So a lot of people are using blogs now as well as podcasts. You're open to linking these together and being able to help spread the word? Or is
Absolutely, as long as it's in alignment with the city's, communication policy. Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to consider that.
Okay.
I also wanted to talk a little bit more, JR, about the homelessness and transiency issues. And so businesses really play a key role and have a key responsibility as part of that, and to work with in partnership with the city. So some challenges that sometimes I hear, and this is just me anecdotally hearing some feedback from business owners as I'm out and about and walking the streets of Escondido. Sometimes business owners, feel really bad for somebody who's out there and is a transient, and may allow them to use their restroom, for example, or may give them a little bit of food in the morning, for example. And what we're finding is, that transient may end up coming back to keep using your restroom and keep looking for food. And so the business owner really does have a huge responsibility as part of this to really let our cops unit. We have Sergeant Cheatham, Fred Cheatham is the lead of our cops unit, and they are especially trained to handle transiency and homelessness, and they do a wonderful job around our city. So I, again, highly encourage folks. I understand, from an empathy standpoint, we have a lot of empathy for folks that are transients and homeless. However, there's a way for us to address it in a more wraparound and holistic approach to help them get back on their feet. And so again, and I hear that anecdotally where it's like, well, if you let them use your restroom once or you keep giving them food, they're going to that's going to be a new expectation. And so again, that is a true, I need to ask for all business owners in the city for their support with this. Our Sergeant Fred Cheatham is phenomenal to work with the cops team. And I will give that information to JR as well afterward to pass along to the members. They're a super team. They're able to really, again, take a very holistic approach to this. But I really encourage all business owners, please do partner with us in the city to help address this issue. And to that end, we also have our council meeting that's coming up on March 3rd. We actually have a workshop on homelessness. So I highly recommend that you tune into that. Our meetings are all broadcast live, and you're welcome to participate that way. You can also submit a public comment in advance of the meeting, and that would there's a link to that on our website as well. But there will be a workshop on homelessness on March 3rd. In addition, on March 3rd, we're going to actually be having the state of the city. So because of COVID, and we figure the safest solution for this is that we're going to be playing a video and doing a very short state of the city address as part of the council meeting on March 3rd. So it's very scaled back, and it is online, and it's just for the safety concerns.
Gotcha. Good to know. Hey, Amber, through all of this, there's also been really good bright spots, right? There's new businesses that have opened. Anecdotally, we know of some. Barrel Republic is coming downtown. They've got to be just about ready to open, I believe.
Yes, I am so excited to talk about Barrel Republic. So I actually keep in touch with them very regularly because I keep seeing the construction going well, and so their kind of trigger to open is once the state and county allow for 25% indoor dining, that will be their trigger point for opening. So we don't know when that might be. They're saying maybe toward the end of March, right? Hopefully, optimistically, but their trigger point to open will be that 25% indoor dining. Once that occurs, look out, because Barrel Republic's opening up. We're super excited about that.
Sure, but there's been others too, right? We've got, and we have a new Cane's coming to
Absolutely.
town.
Yes,
Right,
we have
Cane's?
Raising Cane's coming. Raising Cane's is coming. Yes, we're super excited about that. We just had a meadery open up on Grand Avenue as well. That's exciting. Good Omen Mead. Off the Grid just opened as well. So that's a really great outdoor rough and tumble type apparel, which is great. Like if you're out there jeeping or camping, I mean, that's the place you want to go for sure. So those are some examples of some of the folks that have opened up, during the pandemic.
So during the pandemic, there's got to be some things that you've got to know that things that have been tougher for some people. And we've noted and can see that there's been a few more closings in spaces. Have you noted this too? Does the city thinking about vacancies and what can be done? And I don't want to just totally hit on Grand Avenue, but that is certainly one area of town that you do see that there are still some large parts of Grand Avenue that still have some vacancies and that have been almost chronic, I guess, for the city. Is there things that the city can do to help stimulate opportunities to get those kind of things opened and repurposed or leased?
Absolutely. So JR, you hit the nail on the head. That's actually going to be one of my prime focuses this year, is to focus on those vacancies and to really work closely with our brokers and realtors and the property owners on that. I will tell you that some of the responses I get from developers or folks that are interested in purchasing parcels are finding that some of the property owners may be asking too much, that the more than the market will bear. So that is some of the feedback I've heard, that is really tough. So sometimes some of those properties might stay vacant for a year or two or more, because sometimes the property owner is trying to ask for a valuation that is just not realistic given the market. So there's one piece of the puzzle, right? And so my commitment is to really work with those property owners and to help them, to determine more appropriate valuations for those types of properties. As far as the vacancies are concerned, one of my, again, goals and strategies and really heavy focuses this year is going to be looking at all of those vacancies and figuring out what is the business that's going to do amazing here in this spot. What are we missing, right? As a city, like what do we have a lot of, and then what are we maybe missing and need more diversity in different types of businesses or whatever they're offering for the community, or what is going really well, maybe we need more of, right? And so that is something I'm going to be using data-driven, make data-driven decisions to really do intentional attraction to our city. So that is something I'm going to be focusing on very, very closely for this coming year.
Oh, great. And thank you, Amber, for addressing that, because we do think that's an area that obviously, if we can help you or be a part of that, we'd be happy to. Additionally, let me ask you this: there's the Research and Technology Center of Escondido. And I've got this question moving to it. Can you kind of define that for us? Or is that basically the area west of the freeway over there by Stone, in that area? Is that kind of been developed as that science and technology area? Is there any or research and technology, any movement or any opportunity or things that you can update us on over in that area?
I don't have any particular updates in that area off the top of my head.
Okay. All right. Good to know. And then is there anything else that you'd like to add here? I tell you what, we love the idea of the festoon lighting, and this whole Grand Avenue project is really exciting. It's great because Grand Avenue is such an important part of Escondido, and it really is something that a lot of the communities up along the 78 corridor just don't have. It's one of the attributes that we think that does make Escondido such a great place to be. But it's not the only area. And I appreciate the fact that the city is also looking to see what we can do in the East Valley, because that's an area that the chamber also is very centered on, also helping to build back some of the awareness of things that are going on over there and how we can help and be an asset to the city as well as those merchants in those areas. There'll be more coming out about that as we progress further. But if there's nothing else you have at this point, I've got
JR, I would love to ask for the chamber's assistance and support with additional engagement with the Escondido Creek Trail adjacent businesses. So we've done quite a bit of outreach, from postcards, invites, et cetera. We would love to ask the chamber's support in kind of getting those adjacent to the Creek Trail businesses really engaged in the process, and really, us working collaboratively together to help them make sure that their signage is going to be great from the trail, help increase the foot traffic from that trail. I think that is a key partnership we could play. I would love to get more feedback from your members on Escondido Eats. As you know, this has been a great partnership between the city and the chamber. But what can we do to kind of take it to another level? I would love to hear, your members' feedback on things we could do to really engage that branding and really, again, use it as a marketing tool and to do different activities and initiatives. I know we did a lot during November and December, fill your plate, fill your heart, and 25 days to go. And so, like, what is next for Escondido Eats? I would love to explore that further with your members.
Well, good questions, and that'll be something we will help and get some feedback for you on, because that is a great example of a partnership that Amber came through the city with this idea and presented it to the chamber, and we ran with it. And it's been a really, the Facebook group on there is almost up to 8,000 members, and there's a lot of activity constantly on that. So it's hopefully been a really good asset for the community, and we'll look to build on those kind of programs. Thank you.
I'm on that Facebook group every day, and I tell you, I learn about a new restaurant or place to go. It's just amazing. The feedback, the engagement in the community there is phenomenal. So I congratulate the chamber very much for really helping to drive that community engagement. It's fantastic.
And I will say this: Amber's been very responsive to things that we've been able to go to her with and be able to help with it. That be a new business trying to open up in the East Valley and trying to work their way through some of the issues that any new business has to face, or whether that be some of the issues that we get presented to us and ask for some assistance on in helping. And one of them happens to be one that we'll talk to Amber about further, that we just became aware. But this is the role that we play, where we get feedback, we can go and go to Amber, who then is very responsive and looks into these things and then comes back with some real good plans and some solutions to problems. Sometimes it has to be a joint venture between, we all have to invest back in our businesses and our properties themselves, and the city can only do so much. But there's constantly good dialogue that's going on, and that's really important. The process online, I think the digital assets that the city has had, Amber, I must say, even through this pandemic, have just gotten that much better. I think there's been a real kind of re-energized position there with the city being able to really improve on their digital assets also. And I have to assume that's part of your doing over the last year and a half.
That and the information system staff, let me tell you, we figured out very quickly how to have online meetings every day, how to do our city council meetings online. I can tell you our engagement, public engagement with public comments has increased like so many times over, just having the online meetings opportunities. So it's been great. And it's really, the information systems team has done all the heavy lifting on that.
Yeah, well, that's great. So if there's anything else, we've had some interesting questions that have relayed here. Is there anybody else, any other questions at this point for Amber? We look forward to having you join us on a regular basis on these economic development, because your update and valued insights are going to be important for our members also. And we do look forward to working together with you more. We'll help in any way that we possibly can. And I do really appreciate the fact that you gave us that 602 waiver information. That's a really interesting thing, because, homelessness is still an issue that we all have to face. And if we work together and the city putting in their efforts in it, we have seen a remarked change here at the chamber offices when we've engaged the city on this and trying to help. And they've been very proactive and very helpful there too for us. So we can use ourselves as an example.
And
The other
JR, I'm
area
happy
town
to
I did-
follow up after this too with all the links to these different things, whether it's the newsletters, whether it's the programs and the websites and stuff. I'm happy to follow up with you afterwards so you can share that with your membership.
Sure. Okay. We've also been working on the Escondido Eats and doing a Wednesday bump. This is something that we've tried to help on. So anyway, we just encourage people to go to the Escondido Eats wherever you can, Facebook, join, be a part of that. There's some interesting things that are happening there and ways to connect and help. Amber, is there anything you want to leave us with?
That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for the invite.
Yeah, you had a bunch. There's some really great things that are going on in the city in spite of a pandemic. You know, we hear some anecdotal things that you get a feeling that there is as the vaccines. So we have the couple of locations here in Escondido now that are going to be, or that are up and running for the vaccines, right? Do you play a role in that also, Amber?
So that's more county and city driven. So as you saw, we are starting up a vaccine site here at the old hospital downtown. So that's really exciting. That will be a full on vaccination site. And so it's right here in the community, you know, that really needs it. So we're really excited to have it close by.
Sure. Okay. Well, I think we've addressed everything we needed and taken enough of your time this morning. It's about 7 minutes till. We appreciate it. And again, we look forward to having you with us again, Amber Tarak. I think we've addressed everything that we need to for you today. Thank you very much. And then we're going to ask Chris to give us a quick update on a few things that we've got coming up. Particularly, we have a golf partnership outing that we have that's coming up. So Chris, can you take it from there, please? Thank you again, Amber.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you again, JR, and thank you, Amber, for joining us and presenting this morning. Really appreciate the information and look forward to having you back. And thank everybody for joining us. So as JR mentioned, we do have some events coming up. This evening, we actually have our Business After 5 mixer, and that will be a virtual mixer starting at 5 p.m. And it's basically just to say goodbye to 2020 and hello to 2021, talking, networking, and looking for a positive year. Next week on Wednesday, the 17th of February, we have our Rising Stars Scholarship Program. If you have not attended and are not familiar with it, it's a wonderful program that we honor a student from each of the 7 high schools here in Escondido every month, and those students are then qualified to receive a scholarship at the end of the year that they can apply for. These are some really incredible students, some of the unsung heroes at their schools. And if you have any doubt of hope in the future, attend a Rising Stars meeting and you'll walk away extremely thrilled about some of the children that are out there and that we're honoring. On Friday the 26th, we have Wake Up Escondido. That will be at 8 a.m. On Friday the 26th. And we're going to be talking about some email and networking ideas that can help you and your businesses. Then we have a couple exciting things in March on, let's see, I'll just highlight one of them. On Tuesday, March 9th, we'll be welcoming Tara Lawson-Rimmer, our new District 3 County Supervisor, for our Government Affairs meeting. That will be from 9 to 10 a.m. on Tuesday, March 9th. And then JR mentioned the golf tournament. Our next golf tournament will be on Monday, April 12th. That will be at the Vineyard here in Escondido. We are actually doing this tournament as a partnership with the California Center for the Arts here in Escondido. And it's going to be a fabulous time. Due to, as everybody knows, things are changing with COVID openings and things like that. Right now, it will be on Monday, April 12th, starting at 8 a.m. We're not sure if it's going to be a shotgun start or not. That will be determined here in a few weeks as things kind of progress. However, I mentioned it will be with the Center for the Arts, and it's going to be extremely fun. We have some great ideas that we're going to be doing, incorporating the arts into a golf tournament. And I think everybody's going to be pretty impressed and pretty thrilled when you come out. You can register online right now at the Chamber of Commerce website for all these events, including the golf tournament. And we are looking for volunteers and sponsors as well for that. And I think that's about it.
Yeah. Great. All right, guys. Thank you very much for joining us here this morning. And again, thank you to Amber. And go to the chamber website, escondidochamber.org, for lots more information and links to all of this, as well as we keep a recording of all of these meetings. So thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, guys.